How did you deal with the limitations and the obstacles that were brought up this weekend? If your natural impetus is to blame the Mercury retrograde that began in Sagittarius yesterday, I wouldn't blame you. Mercury retrograde, especially in a sign like Sagittarius, is known to bring miscommunication and logistical errors that then are interpreted as obstacles or limitations. But what if I told you that whatever those obstacles and limitations that were coming up are actually truly sourced from the Piscean area of your chart? And it's Saturn actually creating those obstacles, but those obstacles are part of some sort of awakening within us. And it's that feminine nurturing awakening that's part of this grand water trine that Jupiter, Lilith, and Saturn have all been composite of the last week or two now. And as the moon moved into Cancer, it harmonized with Venus, which allowed us to understand where we are making and where we need to go in terms of transforming our love lives, our relationships, what skeletons in our personal underworld, ergo Scorpio, need to be aired and cleansed as well as nurtured, because the moon is in Cancer, in order to get a little bit closer to achieving those Venetian desires. And we were likely at a pause of not knowing how to expand ourselves in that Jupiterian energy, where Mars made that quincux to the moon in Cancer. As well over the weekend, Mercury started moving retrograde, as I mentioned earlier, and his retrogradation in Sagittarius is essentially asking us at our core, are we exploring life enough? That's fundamentally what Mercury in Sagittarius in this position is wondering. It doesn't matter where Sagittarius shows up in your chart, because Sagittarius is the philosopher via experience. Sagittarians are notably afraid of commitment and afraid to, be limited, because they want to experience the world, because that is essentially the way that they philosophize God and the universe, the experience of reality through experiencing tangible, like physical events in our world. And so Mercury, as he moves retrograde, he would have in forward motion brought up all these opportunities for us to expand our boundaries that we probably didn't pay much of attention to, because Mercury's in his detriment in Sagittarius and gets a little stretched too thin. And the information that comes in when Mercury's direct motion in Sagittarius tends to feel like that. It's like being interested in a bunch of different things and then feeling like you have to choose like one or two out of those 10 different things. And as he goes in his retrograde motion for this second pass over this same area of Sagittarius, he's already gone direct motion once, we're going to get an opportunity to then pick another couple of those things that stood out. Maybe we can't get all 10 of the things that came up the first time, but maybe we can get 5 or 6 of the things that came up the first time. And whatever those things are, they're all helping us advance our philosophical, tangible experience of life, ergo Sagittarius. So the cosmological narrative for the 10th and the 11th, Monday and Tuesday, is pretty simple, but also pretty dynamic coming off this weekend. So on the 10th, we have the moon in Leo in the superior position trine, and the moon will harmonize with both Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius as well as Mars in Sagittarius. On Sunday, we're actually going to get that big moment where Jupiter goes retrograde in the sign of Cancer. And we've all sort of been waiting on this, and this is going to be a big part of this puzzle that both evolved over this weekend and continues to evolve in our current life over the next few days. The Chiron in retrograde in Aries will make a superior position trine to the moon in Leo, and then the moon in Leo will make a square to Uranus retrograde in Taurus, where Uranus is in the superior position to the moon. So let's go through and break down what the cosmological narrative and what the storyline playing out in our lives is. So on Monday the 10th, with the moon being in the superior position trine Leo to Mars and Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, let's start with the moon first. When the moon moves through Leo, our emotional body resonates and connects with our inner child. That is the most fundamental way to understand a transiting moon through Leo. We experience our lives, our emotions, the events that transpire, and obviously pay attention to the house that Leo is in for you, because that's the lens that these themes are going to come through. But we experience a desire to express ourselves that's more in alignment with our authentic self. And what is our authentic self? It's our inner child. Leo is the area of the chart where we need to have a prescription of action to nurture and allow our inner child to come through us. So, for example, I'm a Leo rising, and I have really come to find that whenever the moon transits through my first house, I get this natural drive to kind of want to dive into childhood hobbies, interests. I get a little bit more like flirtatious and lush, just because like it's like my Leonic nature kind of comes out, and especially in the superior position trine to Mars and Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Let's go through how those are impacting this cosmological aspect. So Mars is, think Aryan energy, think drive forward, it's self-pursuit, it's self-accomplishment, it is the desire to achieve and to be in achievement. And so Mars is essentially reflecting that Aryan energy that he embodies through the lens of Sagittarius, which is that dichotomy of exploring the world, not being tied down, being a little bit reckless and impulsive, but for the sake of needing to have spontaneous, novel experiences in life. And so it's like that pursuit of self-drive, that motivation of self-interest, of self-development that we would normally view through an Aryan lens, then comes through this somewhat reckless, impulsive, like, I need to explore the world because it helps me grow. And that's essentially what Mars is saying. As I said earlier, Mercury in his detriment in the retrograde position of Sagittarius is still slingshotting all kinds of things towards us, and there are all kinds of opportunities or experiences that we may have an opportunity to grip onto, and again, expand in a very Jupiterian energy, expand our idea of what the world has to offer us through the Sagittarian area of our chart. With Mars and Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius in the inferior position supporting the moon, it essentially is like after this weekend, we kind of just want to focus on like doing the fun thing. We kind of want to focus on being our authentic self through the Leonic area of our chart. And that energy, that inner child lens, is being even further supported because that's what the inferior position planets do, they support. And so Mars is really like, let's get out there and let's experience the world. And Mercury's like, don't forget about these things that we could have done before that would allow us to experience the world. And all of that energy is fusing together with our natural, energetic, emotional resonance right now, which is kind of paying homage to our inner child. And so it's like our inner child is almost, in a sense, becoming a little bit inflated because we have this excitement that's coming through the Sagittarian area of our chart that's kind of invigorating our sense of our Leonic childhood drive. Now on the 11th, this is questionably the bigger day of the two. Remember, the moon has been in Leo where we are emotionally resonating with our inner child. And so again, on Saturday, we were almost getting like the drive and maybe some of the cues that were coming up that were allowing us to see, yes, like this is something I'd like to explore. This is something that would actually put me in a greater alignment with my inner child. On the 11th, Chiron in retrograde in Aries, which is the summation of our childhood wounds, it's where we have the most open, festering wounds that we have an opportunity to heal and allows us to develop an antidote for our own poison so that we can help other people. That energy is going to be in the superior position trine to the moon in Leo. And so essentially it's like by embodying that curiosity and that need to explore the philosophical, tangible experience of our childhood lens, we then enter this state of mind where we're then able to see and resonate with that childhood wound that's still preventing us from embodying that childhood energy on a daily basis. It's like this transit over the weekend is a reminder, this is who you are at your core, and then we're going to be reminded, this is why you can't be who you are in your daily space, because you're still allowing this wound, this chironic wound, to affect you. And so again, with Chiron in the superior position, the moon, the energy, the wanting to be and embody our inner authentic child is actually supporting the connection to that childhood wound and acknowledging how it needs to be addressed in some way. Now, Jupiter is going to go retrograde this same day. And what's Jupiter doing? If you've been following my channels, this is going to be repeat information, so I'll try to make it concise. But Jupiter in Cancer, since it's his exaltation, it's known as a guardian angel position, regardless of where it's positioned in your chart. Certain houses will have this effect more heavily or more noticeably. However, wherever Jupiter is at in our charts, that, like in Cancer, that is where he is guardian angeling. He's orchestrating something from behind the scenes, and it doesn't always seem apparent to us what's happening, but it's almost as if we're being divinely orchestrated towards some outcome. And this is obviously, when Jupiter's in Cancer, we will obviously experience a lot of divine redirection and realignment processes that feel tribulative or difficult at first, but then it's like in retrospect, we're like, wow, had that not happened, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have had to have this experience. I wouldn't have gotten to grow in this way, etc., etc. So Jupiter going retrograde in Cancer, this is essentially like him asking us at the time where we have this Chiron in the superior position trine to the moon in Leo. Again, we emotionally become in touch with our inner wound the day that Jupiter, who's been teaching us how to fill our own cup in the Cancerian area of our chart and understand that things are divinely orchestrated, then asks us basically, do you not trust me? Jupiter is essentially pointing at that chironic wound that's being activated by our emotional body and asking, do you still not trust me? Do you still not see that there is a plan in motion for your life and you are exactly where you need to be when you need to be there? So the other aspect and the last aspect we're going to talk about on the 11th, and we'll tie it all together, is Uranus in retrograde in Taurus in the superior position square to the moon in Leo. So this again suggests that the moon in Leo is supporting, but again, it's a square, so that's internal tension. So it's essentially like our emotional body is in conflict with the changes that we know need to be made in the Taurian area of our chart, which Uranus is reflecting and reviewing. And so what I could see this being is like Uranus is this Promethean flame that we're chasing, whether this is new long-term dreams and aspirations when he was in Gemini, whether this is new spiritual practice, maybe this is new friend groups, maybe this is new health mantra, maybe this is a new approach to yourself. And it's like Uranus moved down the track, set this flame down there, and we've been chasing it. But as he comes back, our emotional body is in this state of wanting to honor our inner child, basically recognizing that we can't really align with what Jupiter is trying to heal in our lives unless we heal our inner child. But to stop, to pause right now in the timeline, so to speak, it goes against our pursuit of that Promethean flame. Uranus is being activated and showing us like that flame is all the way down at the end of the hallway. And if you don't keep pushing to get there, you're not going to get there. But our inner child's like, wait, I need to focus on me. I need to like repair myself. I need to do something fun. I need to do something that I enjoy, something that brings me an inner authentic sense of peace and well-being. And the reality of it is we are going to be able to reach that Uranian Promethean flame unless we repair and tend to our inner child, which is what Jupiter's asking for us. And that's why he stops in retrograde motion on this day. He stops and he says, wait a minute, you are still not understanding what I am trying to do here. Let's go backwards in time. Let's review and reflect all of the ways that I have redirected you, realigned you, and provided for you in times that you did not think there was going to be provision given to you in the Cancerian area of your chart. And voila, here you are. You didn't think you were going to be able to pay rent? Here's money to pay rent. You didn't think that relationship was going to work out? Well, it did, but you had to have that fight. It had to spill out, and all of you, you had to speak about all of your inner emotions and heal those and acknowledge those for the relationship to grow closer. Again, I always like to view Jupiter, even in his exaltation, as bringing this challenge, this obstacle. It's something we're uncomfortable with, and Jupiter is like, oh, you're a king, you're a queen? Show me. Step into it. Show me spiritually, energetically, that you are worth this blessing, this promise. And obviously Jupiter believes in us, so he's going to give us the benefit of the doubt, which is why he gives us these situations to begin with. So again, on the whole, I can see Monday and Tuesday as being a really big series of days where we connect with our inner child. We're driven, we're curious. It's almost like the sparks of that inner child start to fuse again. They start to light up. But as we do, we start to recognize that we're not able to honor that inner child because we're still not acknowledging some sort of care from the divine or ourselves that we could be acknowledging, we could be trusting, we could be leaning into more. And then it creates that square with Uranus where it's like we're pursuing the Promethean flame. We have these long-term dreams, these aspirations, whether they're friends, practices, health, personal achievement, mission development, etc. And they feel like they're at a pause. It's an internal tension because it's like, well, shit, I need to honor my inner child first. And I don't know if I'll be able to get to my dreams if I stop right now to sit and play with toys, so to speak. And let me tell you, sit and play with the toys. It's not going to keep you from your Promethean flame. It's actually going to help you achieve it. It's going to help you get there. And more often than not, we sit in that situation and think this is a waste of time, when more often than not, self-care and attention to self is some of the best energetic and spiritual work we can do, especially when we are hustling and we are taking the divine inspiration when it shows up. If you enjoy these astrological and spiritual narratives, I encourage you to check out my weekly astrological and divination-based workshop, Consciousness, Conjunctions, and Conversations. We meet every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. It's completely free, limited to 10 seats per week. Go ahead and sign up at the link in my bio or shoot me a DM if you have any questions, leave a comment, etc. If you're interested in booking a reading with me, I have my menus posted on TikTok, Instagram, and the link tree in my bio. I have hardship and situational financing available, so if you're affected by the downturn in the economy, do not fret. Shoot me a DM, let me know what's going on with you. We will work things out and we'll coordinate. So until I see you signed up for my workshop, again, there's a Partyful link in my bio. Would love to see you there. It's a whole heck of a lot of fun. Or if I don't see my readings for a DM, then I will see you tomorrow for the Cosmological narrative for Wednesday, November the 12th.